Hey everyone, this is Rushlock, and today's video is a post by Rixx Javix titled Toxicity. Before I get started down this particular road, I think I should mention a few things up front. First of all, and perhaps most importantly, I have noticed a significant decline in general toxicity in my EVE life during the past few years. I think that is important to mention. Reasons for that are probably quite complicated, but I have a lot to do with me stepping away from the quote-unquote metagame a few years ago. I've also been generally avoiding the subreddit for the past 3 years as well, a decision that has both increased my overall happiness in EVE, while also significantly hurting my chances at being elected to CSM last year. Oh well, you can't have everything. Within weeks of first starting to play EVE and making the realization that the spaceships on my overview were not computer AI-controlled ships and were piloted by real people, I ran into my first experience with toxic players. As many of you reading this will already know, since then, I've had my account stolen a few times, been the subject of countless crazy rants by crazy people, had to alert the Icelandic police regarding a potential nutjob showing up to harm my wife and I at our first fan fest back in 2015. Luckily, nothing came of it. Had my personal information publicly exposed on Reddit, now you know why I stopped going there, and still have to hear about my divorce, or my begging, or whatever other thing I supposedly have done from time to time. It's been a lot. I'm probably forgetting a few more. Scroll down a little bit here. As you can see, none of this has stopped me from playing, or writing, or standing up for what I believe in. I will be the first to admit that I, at times along the path of the last 14 years, I may have even deserved some of it. I'm the first to admit that not all of my decisions have been perfect. I make mistakes. The difference is I own up to them. And I do actively try to make amends for them. While I admit, for example, that I may have gotten out of control a bit with the anti-Tusker propaganda a decade ago, I made an effort to make up for it at a FanFest a few years later with those involved, and apologized in person, and I took down the worst examples. Yesterday, I found myself duped by an apparently new face in EVE, and I briefly published a video of theirs on the post from yesterday. Fortunately, some of the community members contacted me and made me aware that the person involved was the same double-banned character that had doxed a friend of mine in the community. And while this person has never done anything to me personally, I can't condone those actions. So I removed the video from the post. As expected, that only resulted in that person placing the blame at my feet and even throwing B4R in my face. Sigh. Anytime you get a number of people together, you are going to disagree. It is human nature. The more people, the more likely you are to disagree. Disagreement, however, is not what toxicity is about. And while the root causes behind it are varied and complicated, and I am not an expert by any means, the results are the same. It is essentially bullying, or an expression of a mental health issue, or immaturity, or posing, or any number of other expressions. Heck, sometimes it is possibly just someone having a bad day and acting out. Whatever the causes, or the reasons behind it, toxicity affects others in truly negative ways. My first FanFest experience had a dark cloud over it. Years ago, when I was struggling personally, EVE both helped me and harmed me in ways I've had to work through over the past few years. I don't have a solution, or possibly even a good point to make. Over the past 14 years, I have noticed that most of the truly toxic people burn out really fast. They don't seem to last long, generally speaking. It is frustrating that many of the worst offenders are often those most admired by large swaths of the EVE community. That can be damn frustrating at times, as can life in general. So, I think something really important to talk about is this paragraph here, where Rixx is kind of expanding upon the idea of, what is the root cause for a lot of toxic behavior from individuals in general. This isn't just an EVE topic or even an MMO topic. And while these examples are valid, the last one he gives is that, like, sometimes you just catch someone having a bad day. And there's a possibility that that's the majority of negative interactions you have with people online. You just caught the wrong person at the wrong time, and because you're in a more of a digital age or format or world, or whatever you want to refer to it as, those people are going to be louder and seem more common because you're not just encountering your neighbors or your local people having a bad day. You're encountering a global span of people having a bad day. And to make the distinction, I think you have to consider or keep in mind that think about your interactions with that person as an individual. Is this your only interaction with them ever? Then, maybe they fall into that category of having had a bad day. But with the tools we have available to us nowadays, it's simple to look at their social media. It's simple to look at forum posts and get a kind of a barometer for, You know, is this a one-off? Is this something that happens, you know, once in a blue moon? Or is this like every other post of theirs is this kind of a theme? And then the burden, oddly enough, falls on you to make the distinction, hey, this person's having a bad day, or hey, this is just a toxic person. So I think you can identify toxicity on your own pretty easily if you're willing to approach it objectively and keep in mind that while they might be popping off on you and throwing a lot of negativity your way, you don't have to let it in or let it affect you or ruin your day as well, right? If you can catch yourself from doing that and take a step back and then reapproach the scenario and kind of try to assess these types of things, whether it's, you know, someone being a toxic person or someone just having an off day, I think give you a lot of clarity on how to handle situations overall. There was something else in here I wanted to mention as well. I think it was like the last part. Oh, about the video he had posted. Yeah. So Rixx had posted we've been having a lot of fun with this, at least I hope so, where Rixx will make a post, I'll make a video post reacting to it, and then he'll make a follow-up post in response to that. And I think somebody wanted to jump on the bandwagon the other day, and I was looking forward to watching that video, and then found out the same thing that Rixx found out. Somebody contacted me like saying, this is so-and-so, they've been twice banned already, they've doxed players, they've had this, you know, all these terrible situations going on that they've instigated, you know, and the same thing could be happening there. This could be a person that had a couple of bad days, or this could be a person who's exhibited a pattern of toxic and negative behavior, and of course people are going to distance themselves from them if they approach the situation objectively. So I found that very interesting, and I'm sure this has been part of the inspiration for this post possibly. Maybe Rixx will expand in a tweet or something, but hope you guys take something away from this. If you had experiences of your own or stories you want to share, put them in the comments down below, and I'll respond to them as I'm able to. But until then, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see all of you hopefully again in the live stream and or on Monday.